We are off. Whew. And we are online on all four. Awesome. Here we go. We are in the Sand and Sequoia route. Is my head getting cut off? It is. We are going. Ooh. Why is it so hard? Shouldn't be. We're flat. But we're going. We are live. And just to give you all a little thing, we were supposed to set off in about 3 weeks for AIDS LifeCycle, Team Warriors Live On. And unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we can't. Right now I should be making the final preparations to send my bags and my bike to San Francisco. So Team Warriors Live On went ahead and made the commitment to ride next year in AIDS LifeCycle 2022. We will be riding again, hopefully. And this year, we're still fundraising, so right below me is the link to this year's efforts. But one of the interesting things is if you look over that way, you'll see Venmo and PayPal. Those are there for you all if you want to make donations for next year. Now, I won't have a URL for 2021 until about July 1st. That first week of July, I believe it's when it comes out. And what I'd like to do is, as soon as that moment hits, be able to drop my ticket to ride, which is $3,000, and be done. So here's my commitment to all of you. Over the next 25 days, because I started late, I was traveling back from California. Over the next 25 days, I plan on riding 545 miles. That is about 21 and a half miles a day. Some days will be longer, some days will be shorter. Today we're starting off with about 26 and a half miles. And what I'd like is for you all to consider making a pledge or donation of $5 per mile. Keep me riding, keep my legs pumping, and keep me going. That way we can help people. Also, just to let you all know, today, if we're able to reach $500 in donations to the link below. There is another organization that will match those $500 dollar for dollar, so one for one. Last week, managed to raise $500 and half an hour, even though you can kind of see down there that we're at $2,400 later on this week. That should jump up to $3,400 thanks to Toyota, who did a 2-for-1 to the first 25 riders that could raise $500. And it's great that these companies are stepping up, especially today. This right now, AIDS LifeCycle should be in the $15 million raised, and they haven't even got to half of that because of COVID-19. Let's go ahead and give some ride-ons. As you come in, let me know how everything is looking on your end. Let me know that you're there. Got some new equipment, so the audio should be better than it was before. Video should be a lot better. And we're riding. If you got any questions about my equipment, what I'm doing, why I'm doing this, let me know. Hopefully I'll be able to see your comments. It doesn't always work out. And if it doesn't, what I'll do is I will come back and answer your questions later on once I'm done scrolling through my phone, seeing if anything is coming. And we are on Zwift, an online virtual gaming platform. I guess that's the way to call it. This thing is pretty cool. I am on my actual bike. I am not on a trainer. This is I want to say it's a Santa Sequoia route, which is 12.5 miles. I'm going to do this twice. It's pretty flat. But I'm going to do this twice today. And if I was on a hilly loop, as I would start going up, you would definitely, or I would definitely feel the change in resistance, and I'd have to change gears on my bike, like if I was on on the road. Now, because I am riding over 22 miles today, after I am done, I will do 22 push-ups to remember the 22 veterans that we lost today to their inner demons. Like I said, this is a pretty flat route. I considered going to London today, but decided I would stay in Watopia, which, like I said, it's Zwift's online virtual world. And if you are a cycling fan, there is a mountain here on Zwift called the Zwift. And the Zwift is almost a one-for-one, turn-by-turn replica of the Alpe d'Huez of the Tour de France, which is, excuse me, is going to be taking place this year. So is Paris-Roubaix. And this year, for Paris-Roubaix, there will also be a women's run of the Paris-Roubaix. It's a pretty cool bicycle race. A lot of history behind it. Right on. Getting some ride-ons here. So during AIDS LifeCycle, Andrew and I do stop every 545 miles, every 22 miles, and we do 22 push-ups. One of the interesting things is we get some crazy looks. And we're asked if we're crazy. Why are we doing this? And it gives us a chance, an opportunity to talk about PTSD, to bridge that gap. And many of the people that are riding in AIDS LifeCycle do have some form of PTSD or have had it. Definitely most, if not all, have experienced some form of trauma in their lives. And last year, a firefighter stopped, asked Andrew what he was doing. He told him. He dropped and gave him 22. And he even said that he would stop and do their 22 miles. We do get questions about it. We do have people that ask us about it, who join us in the push-ups, or show us their support, which is always great, because we need it. We are not your typical rider. We don't fit most of the criteria for riders, if you will. But we're happy to support. We're happy to be a part of it. The more people we reach and raising awareness for PTSD, the more people we get to help. In essence, we ride for those who can't. And it is estimated that 7 to 10% of Americans will develop PTSD in their lifetime. Just to let you know, only 1% of the population has ever served in the military. So on the low end, 6% of Americans who have PTSD have never served in the military. That's why we ride. There are a lot of people right now with this COVID-19 who are developing PTSD, who are going to have a very difficult time coping with what's going on. And it's because, let's face it, PTSD affects us all. And it affects us all in different ways. Always talk to a lot of the riders about how they could possibly have PTSD. There are people on the bike ride that have that were diagnosed with not HIV, AIDS, back in the 80s when HIV and AIDS was a death sentence. One of them is one of the most interesting characters you'll see on the ride. And I've talked to him. He's told me a story. He has watched friends die of AIDS. He had AIDS. He was at death's door. He was there. He had the sores all over his body. He thought he was going to die. Imagine that. Ooh, going uphill. 3%. 3% grade uphill. Right on. See, 200 watts going uphill. That's pretty good. I like that. We're going. We are heading up this hill almost to the top. Halfway through this loop. It's been about a week and a half since I last rode. Whew. I've been stationary the last week and a half. Ooh. We're going up still. There we go. Feel that burn. 4%. We're going 13 miles an hour, not bad. 4%, 5%. How to shift gears, we're almost to the top. A little bit of a relief here. We're going down. Back up. We're going back down now. Rolling hills. Reminds me of Malibu. Up and down. Hill. Right on. You're going up, up, up. Oh, we're still going. Still going out. As you come on in, say hello. Let me know how you all are doing today. How's quarantine treating you? Or how's the lockdown treating you, I should say. Let's face it, we are all stuck at home. Fortunately, I have my smart trainer going. I am in Watopia, riding around. In this virtual world. Whew. Still going. See how everything is shaping up. Got some water. Still fundraising. Oh, didn't realize I was cross-chained there. Going up this hill. Whew. I was wondering why that was so noisy. Still going up. 3% grade. So like I was saying, you can still donate for this year's efforts. Link is right below. If you want to help towards next year's efforts, you can donate through Venmo or PayPal. And as soon as they open up the site for next year, we're just going to dump all that money in. Getting Team Warriors Live On to go to San Francisco again next year. Ride the 545 miles from San Francisco to LA. Whew. If you got any questions, let me know. Hopefully they'll come through and I'll be able to see what your questions are about the ride, PTSD, what does LifeCycle do? What does Team Warriors Live On do? Because we are here to raise awareness for PTSD. Thanks to Andrew, he came up with a nice little logo here. It's also the one you see up there. Warriors Live On. We may be riding for different causes, but we all ride together. We all feel the pain together. And I will tell you, riding at home is a lot different than riding on the road. I have my ceiling fan going. You can't see it, but I have 2 fans pointed straight up at me. The air conditioner is on, and I'm still sweating. If I was outside today, which is like 85 degrees outside, here in southeastern Louisiana, with the humidity, I wouldn't be sweating. And a lot of times when you're on the road during the ride, you really don't sweat that much, or at least it evaporates fairly quickly. That's part of the reason I have this bandana on. It has a little rubber piece on the inside. It deflects a lot of that sweat away from my eyes. Whew. Still going up this hill. Says I got about 2 more minutes. It's really sad what's going on today, or in today's day and age. For everyone that needs LifeCycle, because they rely on March, April, May to get most of their funding. Last year, we raised $17 million. Unfortunately, this year we I think we'll make it to 7 million today. Now, because its LifeCycle was postponed, the actual ride, or was canceled, they revised their figures, their fundraising figures for this year to, I think it was 12 million. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, unless, there's a lot of people waiting in the wings to donate, it doesn't look like they're going to make it. Woohoo! 9:45. Made it to the top. Now it's time to coast to the bottom. Time for some water. And I will say that riding indoors, I find myself drinking a lot more water than normal. As you come in, say hi. Let me know you're there. If you got any questions about my setup, riding, ALC, Warriors Live On, what does the money go to, all of that, let me know. So our goal today is 25 miles. Over the next 25 days, the goal is to ride 545 miles. It's a lot of miles. Excuse me. That's about 21.5 miles a day. 21 and a half miles a day. You know, just saying that, 21 and a half miles a day, and then thinking about AIDS LifeCycle, where the longest day is about, we're going back up in a second. The longest day is about 110 miles. Shortest day is, I think, 40. Literally on that short day, lunch is about 5-6 miles away from the finish. And you end up taking a very hefty lunch, very long lunch. On that day is when we got our, as they called it, not my words, for us, the minority, the straight people, we were given a lesson during dinner called Homo 101, and I kid you not. Lori had us laughing, the CEO of the LALGBT Center. She had us rolling during that lesson. And just to let y'all know, I am still waiting for wrong side. That number. Oh no, I had it right. That number to jump $1,000. I was told by the 8th, Toyota should be making their donation. Since I managed to raise $500, be one of the first 25 to raise $500. That means I get my ticket to ride for this year. Whew, a little bit of a downhill. Get up here. Get down in the drops, right? Get that aero advantage. You want to be called crazy? Stop and do 22 push-ups every 22 miles during a 545-mile bicycle ride. I kid you not. We got called crazy. People did join us. People listened to our message about PTSD. And we made a lot of friends. You know, not riding for a week and a half and sitting on a plane and in a car for 3 days, and then 2 days of recovery after that. But today I'm here, my little, one of my fitness tracker, I guess you could call it. Although I think it's a little more than a fitness tracker. Said that last night my sleep was very good, my recovery was very good, and that I should really push myself today. Why not? You gotta push, right? This route of Watopia is called San Sequoia. It's a fairly flat route. I've done most of the hard part, most of the climbing on the way up the mountain. What's left are just some few rolling hills. And ideally, I would stop at 25 miles today, which is 2 laps. However, I want to do 2 full laps of San Sequoia, which means that I have to go about 1.5 miles further. Because of where it starts, which is okay. Because in order to do 545 miles this month, I definitely have to ride about, excuse me, about 21 miles a day, 21.5 miles a day. Right on from Spain, awesome. And Zwift has become very popular over the last couple of months. It's become very popular because everybody's stuck inside. Interestingly enough, virtual cycling, because how much these trainers emulate real world scenarios, there have been virtual cycling races going on. Team Ineos, within their team, they had a race a few weeks ago. Who could make it up to Zwift, or the virtual version of Alpe d'Huez of the Tour de France. And there have been a few other races. They've started some crit races. Not exactly sure how that works in the virtual world. Later on, I am going to do a functional power threshold, or functional threshold power, I can't remember, test. And that's extremely hard. It's an hour long, but it's an actual test. Now, if you look up, I'm trying to, in the upper left-hand corner, you can see my power, the amount of watts that I am producing. You can see my RPM and my heart rate. I have a heart rate monitor on. Directly above me, you can see how fast I'm going, how far I've ridden, how much I have climbed. That's total. So if I go over 500 bumps and they're all a foot in elevation gain, I would have gone up 500. And how long I've been riding today. On the upper right hand corner, so directly above me, you can see the map, what the elevation gain looks ahead of me. So right now we're going at 1% elevation gain. And right across the bottom, you see this grayed out area. It looks like mountains. That's the elevation that's coming. Now, directly to my right, coming all the way behind me, that is, the red line is my heart rate, and the grayish parts are my power. So if you notice, I just stopped pedaling, my power went down, and therefore it flattens out. When I start to get on there pretty quick, it starts to get back on there. And the color changes is how much power I'm putting out. So if you see reds and yellows and oranges, I'm up there. But we're about 47 minutes, halfway through this ride. I had to take a little bit of a sustenance break here as I'm riding. Got my gel so I don't bonk, I don't hit the wall. Vanilla bean. Now, interestingly enough, if you ever watch pro cyclists, they do everything on the run. They're given these little satchels with their lunches. They don't stop. Excuse me. They don't stop to eat. They don't stop to drink. They don't refill their water bottles. They're just going. If you stop, you could very easily lose your place in the peloton. You definitely don't want that. And believe it or not, they even take a wee, keep it kind of PG as they're riding. I'm sure they had to have a lot of practice to do that, but one of their teammates might come and kind of push them along, literally push them along as they come up and they stand up, kind of turn to the side, and in a way of putting it, drop trout. But yeah, that happens. They keep going. During AID's LifeCycle, we don't do that. On average, you'll stop anywhere between every 15 to 25 miles, depending on where you're at. And as I do these rides, and you see me on here, I will show you, or I'll go through some of those things with you. That way you can see how that goes. And now we've got about 12 and a half miles to go. So we're going 26 and a half miles today. At least that's the idea. All right, so I took my little gel. Kid you not, these things are pretty good. They're full of a lot of carbs. I took it a little bit later than I should have. But I learned something the hard way one time. This one, the one that says Roctane, or however you pronounce it, if you take that late at night, later in the day, you run the risk of literally not being able to go to sleep. So as we ride in AID's LifeCycle, every day has a different theme for the most part. One of those is called Red Dress Day. or Dress Red Day, I think is how it originally started. You have a safety day. The stops are usually themed. It is a great event. If you are into cycling and you can spare the first week of June of 2021, let me know. Let myself or Andrew know, and we'll give you the details. Right on. We'll give you the details on how to join Team Warriors Live On. Andrew's our team captain. He's there to really help us out. It's his baby. I'm literally along for the ride. So hey everybody, as you're watching this, let me know how everything looks. I've done a couple of these before where the video was really choppy. From my end, everything looks to be working fine this time. But let me know how the audio is. Let me know how the video is. Let me know where I can improve. I'm always looking to improve. I think that's everything we should all do, right? Is improve. And based on last year, I have a lot of improving to do. So I have a goal for next year, and that is to pedal, I should say, all 545 miles. I was definitely not ready last year. So we have roughly 12 months before next year's AIDS LifeCycle. And I will be riding as much as possible, as often as possible, both outside and indoors. Getting ready for this. Do you have a goal? And that is on July, either the 3rd or the 5th, depending on how life treats me, to go up the Zwift. Whew. And I'm really feeling my legs today. We have roughly 10 miles to go. And let me know what you all are doing during this time of quarantine. I'm really interested to know how this is treating you all, how you all are pushing. Ooh. Sometimes you gotta get out of the saddle. But we are moving right along. You know, looking at some of these canyons, some of these graphics, I am really surprised at how Zwift is managing with this increased volume. And I do mean increased volume. They are literally hammered with riders. And I don't know if you can see this on your end, but the graphics are super smooth. And once again, if you're just joining us, We are still raising money for this year's AIDS LifeCycle. The link is right below. They still need money. Last week, I personally donated $549 to them, and that money doesn't sit idle for long. They literally put it to work almost immediately. And again, all the way over there, if you want to help next year's fundraising efforts, Venmo and PayPal, starting to collect that money for next year. And I do have a couple of things planned for next year. Working on a challenge coin. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm working on a challenge coin for next year. So if you're one of the top donors for next year, or a loyal donor, there's a couple of you that fall into that loyal donor line. You will definitely get one. Now that guy right in front of me, the one with the big thumbs up in front of him, believe it or not, Antarctica. At least that's what it says. It's kind of cool, huh? We're 10 miles out. Seems that a lot of this is uphill, coming up soon. So let's give you a different view of me. Not that one. There we go. Taking a couple pictures, why not? Head-on shot right there. It's a first-person view. And then back at me. Let's give these guys a ride on. Before these global lockdowns started, you wouldn't see these many people riding in Watopia or whatever the additional world that they had was. You would always see a few ones you might get past time to time. And as you see in the upper right hand corner, all those little blue dots, those are riders. That's a lot of riders. It didn't used to be that way. I'm still learning a lot of these nuances to streaming all of this. There's a lot of components going on. But as long as you can see me ride, that'd be awesome. And if you see me looking around, it's because I have 6 screens that I'm looking at. So just so y'all know, I have the camera straight ahead, obviously. Right below it is my TV, and my Apple TV is hooked up to that. I do have my iPad in front of me on my little writing desk. I have 2 cell phones up here. They're showing me different things. I have then my computer and the computer monitor that's hooked up, my laptop and the computer monitor. So it gives me different information depending on where I'm looking at. And I'm glad that you all are here to watch and support and listen to me flap my gums. But I have something planned for the first week of June. And I hope that y'all are out there and you follow me that first week. But I'm not ready to release the details because AIDS LifeCycle has something up its sleeve for that week. We don't know what it is yet. And because of that, I can't solidify my plans. But I will be here throughout the next 12 months, trying to do this every day if possible. That's not always going to happen. But one of the things that I do want to tell you is that if you follow me, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, go to Trek for PTSD on Facebook, and I'll post some updates, I'll post some pictures as we go along. I'll give you updates, little videos. I'll try to put my GoPro on so that you can see our progress as we go along. And that way you can follow me and share this. This actually is streaming on 4 platforms right now. But I would love your support on Trek for PTSD on Facebook. And as I stated before, this year's ride was canceled, and my intention at the time was to ride this year, and then next year pick up on what the Trek for PTSD, my original intention for it was, and that's to continue to hike for PTSD, for raising awareness. But I made a commitment to myself, I made a commitment to my teammate, Andrew Baroni. I made a commitment to my family and to AIDS LifeCycle to ride. So I will ride again next year. And in 2022, the idea, the notion is to hike the Appalachian Trail. And then a year or two after that, so 2023 or 2024, hike the Pacific Crest Trail or the Continental Divide, one of the two. And then maybe in 2025, do the other one. So I might wait till 2025 to do the Pacific Crest Trail and celebrate a very important birthday on the PCT. If I time it right, which I could, I could be on top of Mount Whitney or Half Dome on that day. So we'll see what happens. But here we are, still riding. And you know, after hiking on the Pacific Crest Trail for 270 some odd miles, slow down too much there, I learned something which I think is rather important about the metaphors of life. And one of the interesting things is if you've ever been hiking up a mountain, especially long distance hiking, and it becomes really, really hard to go up that mountain. It becomes really, really hard to keep going up. And then you want to quit. Sometimes even just continuing on the hike, you just want to quit. And then as you go through, you kind of push forward. You're a member of the trail angels, your family, everybody who supports you, who wants to see you succeed. So you just keep pushing. And you cry, you hurt, it's painful. And then either that night or the next day, you see a beautiful sunset, a beautiful sunrise, a breathtaking view. You get to a wonderful flowing cold stream or river. You meet the hikers along the way that are on the same journey as you are. And then you remember why it's all worth it. And that's kind of the way it is with life, with PTSD as a whole. You know, you have those very difficult days and you keep going. You keep pushing. And then once it's all said and done, if you don't give up, if you don't let it get to you, you get to the end and you're reminded why it was all worth it. Whether it's family, friends, satisfaction of your job, satisfaction of your philanthropy. It's worth it. Got somebody on my wheel. Somebody who just flew by me. I'm going back up, so I have about 500 or 600 more feet of elevation gain to go. So it's going to be kind of interesting. If you hear that, that's literally me changing gears. This isn't your typical spin class, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have a little knob down here to tighten the resistance. As I go up, this virtual trainer I have my bicycle strapped to begins to give me more resistance. And I have to change gears. I don't have a shot. I don't have an option. I have to. Oh, those guys are flying. Now, I know I got some of you out there who are cyclists, and you might be going, man, you're going slow. I'm a rookie, I'm an amateur. One day I hope to be able to pull 4 watts per kilogram going uphill. That'd be awesome. One water bottle down. Day 1 on ALC really gets to you. You really begin to figure out what it's going to be about. And it does not matter how much you try to train for all this. You find out where your faults or deficiencies are when you're there. That's why for the next year I plan on really hitting it hard. Here we are going uphill on a 4% grade, and I'm feeling it. 7 miles an hour. Should be going faster. But as I stated before, I've been kind of sedentary in the last week. Spent a day flying and on a train. The next 2 days in a car for, I think it was at least 14 hours a day. And then I've spent the last 2 days sitting at home trying to recover. Hadn't really slept well, but here we are, doing pretty good. Not doing too bad. I do say I am feeling my quads today, probably because of not doing much. You know, I feel for the frontline workers who have been dealing with all of this COVID-19 stuff. And while I'm sure that many of them have spent a lot of their career dealing with death, I can tell you that probably sitting there watching people literally dying and not being able to have their loved ones there has to be extremely traumatic. I really feel for those people. I feel for them who have to endure that, who have to really endure all of that. So we're still going up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, unlike real life, where as you're going downhill, it kind of continues, eventually you will come to a stop on Zwift. Woohoo, got it right on. And I would encourage all of you to help me raise awareness for PTSD. Spread the word. There is always somebody there to listen, to help. And starting tomorrow, below I will put, or probably, I think this is the way, nope, wrong way, over there, I will put the National Suicide Hotline telephone number on there. Oh, my legs are feeling it. Tomorrow might be a light day. This is a pretty easy ride, and that was the intent of it. But knocking out 25 plus miles today is a really good way to start May. 545 miles in May is my goal. It's 21.5 miles a day over the next 25 days. I know people are going like, oh, there's 26 days left. Doing this by the 30th. And plan to ride all 545. And again, I ask all of you to help me. I ask all of you to sponsor 1 mile, 2 miles. You know, you can give however much you want. The goal that I would have in mind would be $5 a mile. So if you wanted to donate 10 bucks, hey, that's great. That's 2 miles. And I will do those 2 miles for you. And we're going up. And I'm starting to feel it. We've been going for an hour and 17 minutes. Again, if you have any questions, let me know about any of this, whether it's Zwift, my bike, my trainer, my entire setup here, AIDS LifeCycle, where the money goes to, Warriors live on, PTSD. Let me know. Try to answer your questions as best as I can, and if I can't, I will find out the answer for you. Okay, we still have about 5 miles to go, 5.5 miles to go. And again, follow me on Trek for PTSD on Facebook. Look at that, we got a dinosaur in front of us, T-Rex. Coming up. I'm taking it rather easy right now. Going up this hill. Still got quite a few hills to go up. I was kind of hoping that we get to level 10 today, but it doesn't look like it. I don't think so. More dinosaurs coming up on the right, but tomorrow definitely hit level 10. It's always good to level up, isn't it? I don't know, how would you all classify this? Would you classify this as a game? Would you classify this as a training aid? And on this specific route right here, you don't see it that much right now, but Zwift has even gone as far as doing running. There are treadmills out there that can connect to Zwift via Bluetooth, and it will begin to do some of the things that you see on the bike. I don't know if it'll change the resistance, because running is a little bit different, but one of the things is treadmills do go up and down, so it can change the gradient that you're going up. And we're going up a 4% grade. And we are about to hit that magic number, the 21.5, which is what we have to ride every day, or what I have to ride every day to reach my 545 goal. And I think so far this is the longest ride that I've done on Zwift. Excuse me, but that was too loud. Go faster. I'd love to go faster. Hey, good to see you again. And I always say your name wrong, I think. Doomnuken. Doomnuken? It's good to see you again. I am having a great ride. I am enjoying today, although I'm starting to feel it in my legs. That's right, Louise. So Louise, I have a little bit newer setup. Can you see the difference in either the lighting or the sound or anything like that? Let me know, because you saw me. Oh, I know. I remember. I remember IRC when I was in college. Internet Relay Chat before all the windows and everything else. It was all text. And you had to go into the chat rooms. And you had to pay attention or you would lose whatever it was. Oh no, I wear it like a badge of honor. Climbing is still one of my problem areas. I have an issue climbing. As you can see right now, it's just a 4%. And I'm just barely pushing 140 watts, going 8 miles an hour. And I'm feeling it in my legs. Yeah, it was very hard for everybody. Fortunately, Toyota stepped up last week and they donated $25,000. There's another company that today they will donate $75,000. So my cousin Harry is watching. How's it going, Harry? Yeah, last week I dumped $500, took $500 out of my savings to help them out, dumped it into my account, and believe it or not, I was one of the lucky ones, one of the first 25, and they matched my my donation 2-1. So Louise, Harry is on Facebook. And for some reason the chats aren't coming through. But Harry, Louise on Twitch said, nice to meet you. He's keeping tabs on me and making sure I don't slack off, so I keep my training up. So yeah, we're training for 2021, and we're all psyched about it. Since we couldn't do it this year, gives us another 12 months to train. And I am looking to those 545 miles. I'm looking forward to seeing all of everything that's going on and going back to AIDS LifeCycle. It's a beautiful ride. For those of you who don't know, AIDS LifeCycle is 545 miles over 7 days from San Francisco to LA. It is crazy. It is awesome. Yeah, it's, once I moved to Louisiana, it's a give and take. Louisiana is really flat, especially southeastern Louisiana. The closest thing we have to a hill or a mountain are bridges. Ooh, I slowed down quite a bit, but I am feeling in my legs. So fortunately, this is all downhill. So anyways, I lived in San Diego County. So just south of LA. I am now near New Orleans. So it's, California's on the West Coast, I'm on the Gulf. And I'll try to put a map later on in one of the other rides. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. But this is pretty flat. I did a 20-mile ride the other day, and I kid you not, I went up. So it's a 20-mile ride, so it's about what? Sorry, I'm trying to do the math in my head. 3, 6, 9. So it's about 35 kilometers, 35 kilometers, somewhere around there. And the total elevation gain was about 10 meters, so 60 feet. Where were the helicopters passing you out? 60 feet is 10 yards, 20 yards, no, 30 feet. No, yeah, 60 feet. So it's about 20 yards, or about 19 meters. Were the helicopters gray? Ooh. Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm almost out of gears. Yeah, so if you went through the coast, passed down from LA all the way to the border, you went by Camp Pendleton. That's where I was stationed, my last duty station, and I'm out of gears. That's and the best way to describe where Camp Pendleton is and more or less where I lived was you pass the nuclear power plant, which they look like boobs, that's what they're called. And then there's no buildings, no civilization for about 15, 20 miles. And then you get into Oceanside, and Oceanside, from up there on down, it's pretty much populated. Yep, that's where I was stationed. I called that place home for about 10 years, on and off. Got about 3 miles left. Yeah, and Luis, that's one of the only places in the United States, if not the only place, where it is legal to bike on the interstate. What you're calling a highway was Interstate 5. I have been fortunate so far, no flats in my riding. And this bike, they're tubeless too. You know, when I did AIDS LifeCycle, I was fortunate again, no flats on it. There was a part on, I think it was day 2, where we were riding down this little road and very agricultural area, and the road was really bad. The best thing I can say is imagine the cobbles at Paris-Roubaix, but for, you know, we're not talking 1 or 2 sections, it just keeps going. And the trucks would pass you by and you would just keep going and you would feel them. Exactly, it was destroyed asphalt all the way. That's the longest day because it's pretty flat. It's like 110 miles. And I kid you not, I was not able to finish that day because I got to the 3rd rest stop and my hands were so numb that I was scared that I wouldn't be able to grip my my brakes. I was numb. But I think I've got a lot of those issues worked out. So we got about 2 more miles to go. Woohoo, 40K. Yeah, right now I'm having issues, Luis, with my hands. I'm having problems when I wear gloves. And I think I know what it is, as even as tight as the gloves fit, as they sit there, it pulls on the glove itself, so it's actually cutting the circulation off. So I have found it easier to not ride with gloves. Well, I am a partial convert, Louise, to the metric system, primarily when I cook. But a lot of it has to do with trying to making the conversion, especially with ALC LifeCycle. So that's why I haven't gone. I like my handlebars. I have brought them up a little bit. To give me a little bit better when I ride on the hoods. I think next year I'm going to double wrap my bars, give me a little bit more cushioning. Wow, that came across right as I was saying it. Ooh, we're about a mile away. Hey, Sherry. Might have to ride to your house one day. We got Danny as well. Cheers, Louise. I'll see you later. Whew. So we are almost done. Ooh, there's a runner right there. We are almost done with this ride. About 26.5 miles. Ooh. I will say I am really feeling it towards the end here. 26 miles, hour and 42 minutes so far. Oh, almost made it to level 10. I might actually have to go to 27 miles to get to level 10 today. I don't know. It's always about pushing, right? Oh, Mr. Motrin, I am coming for you after we're done. Oh, I slowed down way too much there. Looks like we are going for an hour 45 today. So as I approach the finish line, please remember to donate for this year's effort right below, to fighthiv.org/go-to/booster2020. If you want to start donating for next year's efforts, it's pretty simple. Just go over to, Venmo or PayPal and donate to Trek for PTSD. And trust me, your money goes to a good cause. Almost 100% of what you donate is utilized by the LALGBT Center and the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. They really need your help, especially during this time. And we're going to go 27 miles today. 27 miles, simply enough, because I can't leave it with less than half a mile to go. With about a third of a mile to go, let's be honest. Whew. It's been a good ride. This was flat. Getting back into the thing. Slowed down on this one. It's my third go around. Got about a quarter mile to go. So hopefully we make it to level 10, right? We'll see what happens. I'm getting lapped. I am not really. I'm tired already. And we're about to hit the 27 mile mark for today. There we go. Thank you all. I'll see you on the next ride. Remember to donate to fighthiv.org/go-to/booster2020 or donate for next year through Venmo or PayPal at Trek for PTSD. Thank you all, and you all have a great day. Trek on.